The wooden floor of Yip Man's school on 7 Lei Chi Kok Road creaks under Bruce Lee's weight as he stands in the center of the training hall. It's March 1959. Bruce is 18 years old, cocky, undefeated in street fights, and absolutely convinced he's surpassed his teacher. What happens in the next 3 minutes won't just humble him, it will fundamentally reprogram his entire understanding of what martial arts actually is. But we need to understand how Bruce got to this moment. Because the Bruce Lee standing in that training hall challenging his master isn't the philosopher we know from interviews. He's not the man who said, "Be water." He's a teenager with more ego than wisdom, more speed than understanding, and absolutely zero conception that he's about to learn the most important lesson of his life. Let's rewind 6 months. September 1958. Bruce Lee is dominating Hong Kong's underground fighting scene. Not the organized tournaments, those are too restrictive, too many rules. Bruce fights in the alleys, on the rooftops, in the gambling dens where real fighters test themselves without referees or safety equipment, and he's winning. Every fight, every challenge, every time. He's using Wing Chun techniques, but he's modified them, made them faster, more aggressive, more effective, for what he calls real fighting instead of the traditional forms. Yip Man insists on drilling. Bruce can take down bigger opponents. He's beaten street fighters with decades of experience. His reputation is growing. Bruce Lee, the Wing Chun prodigy, who never loses. This success breeds something dangerous in young Bruce: certainty. Not just confident certainty, the absolute belief that he's figured it out, that he's evolved beyond traditional Wing Chun, that he's better than the classical approach. That maybe, and he won't say this out loud yet, but he's thinking it, maybe he's better than his teacher. The other students notice. When Yip Man demonstrates a technique, Bruce watches with what looks like polite attention, but is actually thinly veiled skepticism. When they practice Chi Souther sensitivity training, that's core to Wing Chun. Bruce dominates everyone his own age, and most of the senior students. His hands are faster, his reactions are sharper, his attacks are more aggressive. And here's the thing, Bruce isn't wrong about his abilities. He is faster than the other students. He is winning real fights. His modifications are working. The problem isn't that Bruce is delusional about his skill. The problem is he's mistaking tactical success for strategic mastery. He's winning battles but doesn't yet understand the war. Yip Man notices. Of course he notices. He's been teaching Wing Chun for 40 years. He's seen thousands of students. He's seen this pattern before: the talented young fighter who wins some fights and mistakes those victories for complete understanding. Yip Man has been watching Bruce drift further and further from the principles, relying more on natural speed and less on Wing Chun's core concepts. But Yip Man doesn't correct this directly. Not yet, because some lessons can't be taught. They have to be experienced. March 1959. The confrontation comes during regular class. 20 students are practicing, working through their forms, drilling techniques. Yip Man is demonstrating the proper execution of bong Souther wing arm, a fundamental defensive technique that redirects an opponent's force. Bruce, watching from the side, makes a small sound, not quite dismissive, not quite disrespectful, but enough that several students notice. Enough that Yip Man pauses, something to say. "Bruce?" Yip Man asks in Cantonese, his voice neutral. Bruce hesitates. He's at a crossroads. He can be polite, stay silent, maintain respect, or he can voice what he's been thinking for months. At 18, with a string of victories behind him, and absolute confidence in his abilities, Bruce makes the choice that will change his life. "Sifu," Bruce says, using the respectful term for teacher, "I don't think bong sao works in real fighting. It's too slow, too defensive. In a real fight, you need to attack first, attack fast, overwhelm the opponent. The traditional techniques are beautiful, but they're not practical." The training hall goes silent. 20 students freeze. Nobody challenges Yip Man's teaching. Not like this. Not in front of everyone. Yip Man nods slowly. "You think the traditional techniques don't work?" "I think they work against other Wing Chun practitioners doing Wing Chun," Bruce says, and now his ego is fully engaged. "But against real fighters, in real situations, speed and aggression beat traditional form. I've proven this. I've been in real fights. I've won using modified techniques that are faster than the classical approach." Yip Man sets down the wooden dummy he was using, walks to the center of the training hall. He's 56 years old, thin, smaller than Bruce. He looks like an elderly scholar, not a fighter. He's wearing a traditional changshan, loose-fitting, designed for comfort, not combat. Show me, Yip Man says simply. Sifu Bruce isn't sure what Yip Man means. Show me these modifications, these faster techniques, these real fighting methods. Yip Man's voice is still calm, not angry, almost curious. If you've discovered something more effective than Wing Chun, I should know about it. We all should. Show me how you would attack me. Bruce realizes what's happening. This is a challenge, or rather, Yip Man is accepting Bruce's implicit challenge. In front of 20 witnesses, Bruce has just said his teacher's methods are outdated, and Yip Man is giving him the chance to prove it. Bruce should back down, should apologize, should recognize that his 18-year-old assessment of martial arts might be incomplete. But ego, especially young ego, backed by genuine success, doesn't work that way. I don't want to hurt you, Sifu Bruce says, and he means it, but the phrasing is disastrous, because it implies Bruce believes he could hurt Yip Man if he tried. Yip Man smiles, not a mean smile, almost gentle. I appreciate your concern. Try your best. Don't hold back. Show everyone here how real fighting works. The other students clear space. They form a rough circle around the center of the training hall. Bruce and Yip Man stand 15 feet apart. Bruce, in his modified Wing Chun stance, more aggressive, more forward-weighted than traditional. Yip Man, in classical Wing Chun positions, center-line oriented, balanced, looking almost relaxed. Ready? Yip Man asks. Bruce nods. His heart is pounding, not from fear, from excitement. This is his chance to prove what he's been thinking for months. To show everyone that his way works, that evolution beats tradition, that he's right. Begin, Yip Man says. This is where the 3 minutes start, and these 3 minutes will be analyzed, remembered, and retold for the rest of Bruce Lee's life. 0 to 30 seconds, Bruce explodes forward with his signature attacker, fast combination of chain punches designed to overwhelm the opponent with speed and volume. His hands are a blur. This is the technique that's won him street fights. Fast, aggressive, relentless. Yip Man's hands come up, not blocking, not parrying in the traditional sense, just there. Wherever Bruce's punches are going, Yip Man's hands arrive first, not with force, just with presence. Bruce's chain punches hit Yip Man's forearms, but there's no solid impact. It's like punching water. The force dissipates, goes nowhere. Bruce resets, tries a different angle. Lower attack, aiming for Yip Man's center line at a different entry point. Same result. Yip Man's structure is perfect. Every attack Bruce throws encounters Yip Man's defense exactly where it needs to be, exactly when it needs to be there. 30 seconds to 1 minute. Bruce is breathing harder now, not from physical exertion, from the mental strain of encountering something he can't solve. He's fought dozens of opponents. Nobody has defended like this. Most people, when you attack fast, they either back up or freeze, or try to match your speed. Yip Man isn't doing any of those things. He's not even moving his feet. He's just there, always there. In the right position, Bruce tries a kick, a front kick to Yip Man's leading knee, designed to collapse the stance and create an opening. Yip Man shifts his weight so subtly that Bruce's kick hits nothing. Not that Yip Man pulled the leg back. The leg is still there, but the weight is gone. The target is both present and absent. Bruce is starting to understand something terrifying. Yip Man isn't fighting him. Yip Man is allowing Bruce to fight himself. 1 minute to 2 minutes. Bruce changes tactics. No more continuous attack. He tries setting up, feinting, using the footwork he's developed from street fighting, creating angles, working for position. This is more sophisticated, more strategic. Yip Man responds with the most minimal adjustments. A slight turn of the waist, a 6-inch step, a change in hand position so small that if you blinked, you'd miss it. But every adjustment perfectly neutralizes Bruce's positional advantage. Bruce is fighting harder than he's ever fought, using everything he knows, every trick that's worked in real fights, every technique he's modified and perfected. And none of it, absolutely none of it, is working. The other students watching see something that Bruce, in the moment, can't see clearly yet. The difference between technique and principle. Bruce has techniques, effective ones, fast ones, but Yip Man has principles. Understanding of structure, balance, centerline, sensitivity, principles that make technique irrelevant. 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Bruce is exhausted. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally. He's thrown everything at Yip Man. His best attacks, his fastest combinations, his most creative setups, and nothing has landed. Nothing has worked. Yip Man has barely moved, isn't breathing hard, looks like he's doing Tai Chi in the park, not defending against an aggressive young fighter. This is when Bruce makes his final attempt, one last attack with everything he has. No holding back, no reservation, full commitment. Bruce launches forward with a straight punch aimed at Yip Man's face, using all his speed, all his power. This punch has knocked down grown men. This punch, with Bruce's full body weight behind it, is serious. Yip Man does something so simple, so minimal, that it almost looks like he's not doing anything. His body rotates maybe 15 degrees. His rear hand comes up in a bong souther, exact technique Bruce dismissed as impractical 5 minutes ago, and guides Bruce's punch past his head. Bruce's momentum carries him forward, off balance. Yip Man's front hand extends in a palm strike, stops 1 inch from Bruce's face, doesn't hit, just stops, demonstrating perfect control, demonstrating that he could hit, but chooses not to, demonstrating that he's been in complete control for the entire 3 minutes. Time stops. Bruce stands there, off balance, with Yip Man's hand 1 inch from his face, and everything he thought he knew about fighting fractures, crumbles, dissolves. Time, Yip Man says softly. 3 minutes, that's all it took. Bruce Lee, undefeated street fighter, Wing Chun prodigy. The fastest hands in Hong Kong didn't land a single technique on his 66-year-old teacher, didn't even come close. Yip Man lowers his hand, steps back. His breathing is normal, he's not sweating. He looks exactly like he did 3 minutes ago, like nothing happened. Bruce, by contrast, is bent over, hands on knees, breathing hard, not from exhaustion, from the realization of how completely he was outclassed, how thoroughly his understanding of martial arts was revealed to be shallow. The training hall is silent. 20 students have just watched their best young fighter get completely neutralized by an elderly man who barely moved. Nobody knows what to say. Yip Man breaks the silence. Bruce, do you know why nothing worked? Bruce shakes his head, can't speak yet. Because you were fighting yourself, Yip Man explains. Every technique you threw, you were committed to it before you threw it. I could read your intention. Your body telegraphed every movement. You were so focused on attacking that you weren't aware of your own structure, your own balance, your own Yip Man walks closer. You've won many fights. This is true. But you've won against fighters who don't understand principles. You beat them with speed and aggression. That works until you meet someone who understands what you're doing before you do it. He gestures to the other students. The techniques I teach, the classical forms you think are impractical. They're not about the movements. They're about training your body to maintain structure, to stay aware, to read intention. The bong sao you dismissed, I just used it to redirect your strongest punch. Not because the movement is magical, because I understood the principle behind it. Structure, angle, timing. Bruce is still processing. His entire worldview is being reconstructed in Yip Man places a hand on Bruce's shoulder. You're very talented, exceptionally talented. Your speed is remarkable, but speed without understanding is just movement. You asked if traditional techniques work in real fighting. Bruce, you just spent 3 minutes in a real fight. Did your modifications work against me? Bruce shakes his head. The answer is devastating and undeniable. No. That's because I wasn't fighting your techniques, Yip Man continues. I was fighting your intention, your commitment, your telegraph. The techniques don't matter if the principle is wrong. You can modify Wing Chun, you can adapt it, you can evolve it, but only after you understand the principles. You've been changing the surface without understanding the depth. This moment, this exact moment, is the beginning of Bruce Lee's actual martial arts education. Everything before was just technique collection. Now, for the first time, Bruce understands that there's something deeper, something he hasn't been seeing. The next weeks are difficult for Bruce. He trains harder than ever, but differently, not working on being faster, working on being more aware, more present, less committed to technique, more committed to principle, drilling the classical forms he'd dismissed, but now seeking to understand why they're structured this way, what they're teaching beyond the movement. Years later, after Bruce has moved to America, after he's begun developing Jeet Kune Do, he tells his students about this moment, about the 3 minutes that changed everything. Yip Man destroyed my ego without landing a punch, Bruce says. He showed me that being undefeated doesn't mean you understand fighting. I was winning fights against people who didn't understand principles. That made me think I was mastering martial arts. But I was just mastering techniques. Don Inosanto, Bruce's senior student, asks, "So what did those 3 minutes teach you?" Bruce's answer becomes foundational to his teaching philosophy. That technique is what you do when you don't have understanding. When you truly understand principles, structure, balance, timing, awareness, you don't need specific techniques. You just respond. Yip Man didn't use Wing Chun against me. He used understanding. That's what I've been trying to teach you. Not how to do this technique or that technique. How to understand what's happening so that technique becomes unnecessary. The story spreads through the martial arts community. Some versions claim Bruce actually landed hits. Some versions say it lasted 5 minutes. Some versions add dramatic details. But those who were actually there, the 20 students who witnessed it, they all tell the same story. 3 minutes. 0 successful attacks from Bruce. Complete control from Yip Man. And a young man's ego shattered in the most constructive way possible. In 1971, during a filmed interview, Bruce is asked about his teacher. The interviewer mentions that some people think Bruce has disrespected Yip Man by moving beyond Wing Chun. Bruce's response is immediate and passionate. Yip Man is the greatest teacher I ever had. Not because he taught me techniques, because he taught me that I didn't understand fighting. There's no greater gift a teacher can give. When I was 18, I thought I was a master. Yip Man showed me I was a beginner. That humility, that recognition that I had so much more to learn, that's what started my real journey. Without those 3 minutes in his training hall, I'd still be a fast street fighter who thinks speed is everything. Instead, I spent the next 12 years trying to understand what Yip Man showed me. I'm still trying. The 3 minutes in 1959 didn't defeat Bruce Lee. They created him. They took a cocky teenager with fast hands and began the transformation into the philosopher fighter who would revolutionize martial arts. But it required Bruce to be broken first, to have his certainty shattered, to face the uncomfortable truth that success isn't the same as mastery. Yip Man gave Bruce that gift, not with words, not with explanation, with 3 minutes of perfect demonstration that technique without principle is just movement, and that real mastery looks like doing nothing while remaining in complete control. Bruce never challenged Yip Man again, but he also never stopped learning from those 3 minutes. Every principle he developed in Jeet, Kune, Do economy of motion, awareness over technique. Being formless traces back to that moment when a 66-year-old man made a teenage prodigy look slow without ever attacking, without ever being aggressive, without ever giving the young fighter anything to fight against except his own commitment to techniques over understanding. 3 minutes. One humbled teenager, one lesson that lasted a lifetime. That's what happened when Bruce Lee challenged Yip Man. Not a fight, a teaching, the most important teaching Bruce ever received.